Hey guys, this will serve as the weekly overview for February 17th. Today we're going to start out with 3 minutes on the clock, 24 alternating dumbbell power snatches, and then 12 burpee pull-ups, followed by as many calories on the rower as possible. So roughly maybe a minute, a little bit over a minute on the rower is what we'll be looking for. And then essentially each round we're just going to go down by 2 reps on the power snatch and 1 rep on the burpee pull-ups. For the fitness, it's going to be the same, scheme as far as time-wise, but we're just going to go with 20 on the dumbbell hang power snatch and then 10 on the burpee leg raises. So we're just going to burpee followed by a leg raise, what we're going to be looking to do that day. And basically it's just going to allow us to kind of move a little bit faster. Now when looking at this, really we should be choosing a weight that we can go unbroken on for 24. Or pretty close to, like it is a day that you can really challenge that. And then staying nice and steady on the burpee pull-ups. And on the rower, we actually want to try to push the intensity here because we do have 3 minutes of rest. So maybe not an all-out sprint, but pretty close because we have a 1-to-1 work to rest. So we do want to try to keep the intensity pretty high for these intervals. So when you get to the rower, quick transition, get your feet in, and then just start driving hard. Again, you're going to maybe have a minute. And towards the end, maybe even 90 seconds. So not a ton of time, so it gives you enough time to be, it's enough time to build and push, but it's not so much that you're going to have to hang on for a long time, so you can really kind of push the intensity there on the rower. On Tuesday, we're going to start out with just some barbell work. So we have touch and go muscle cleans, which are essentially we're just not going to be re-dipping. We're going to still pull to the hip, we're going to make contact with the thigh or keeping the bar close. We're standing straight up, no re-dip. Just really like we're learning how to hang onto the bar, keeping it nice and light. On the second minute, you're just going to use the same weight and you're going to do thrusters. And that should be roughly about the same as far as how much you can muscle clean to how much 10 thrusters will be. So we're just going to keep the weight the same on those. And then we're going to rest on the third minute, and then we're just going to build. Essentially, we're going to get 4 sets of that. We're on the last where we have 4 touch and go muscle cleans and 4 thrusters that can be relatively heavy. After that, we have a chipper. 30 and 20 cal on the bike, 30 thrusters with an empty barbell, 30 kettlebell swings, 30 thrusters, and then 30 calories on the bike. For this, guys, we're looking at opening up on that bike at a pretty hard pace. If you're really good on the bike, you can push it. If not, and you think like, hey, the thrusters are going to be a little bit of an issue, maybe back it down a little bit. So if we want to think perceived effort, somewhere around 75 to 80%. If you're kind of struggle with the thrusters, then if that's where we're going to be. If we feel pretty good about the thruster, we can even go more like 85-90% perceived effort, kind of start out a little hotter on the bike, get to the thruster, and then that's where we can breathe and move, just focusing on full range of motion squat all the way overhead, trying to do that in 1 to 2 sets. If we have to break it up into 3, I think that's fine too, but that's where that first bike is going to be super important. If we come out too hot, it's going to make us want to have to break up those thrusters more. So pace the first bike for sure to where you think you can come off the bike and then be able to do big sets of thrusters. 30 kettlebell swings, again, 1 to 2 sets. Back to the thrusters, just breathing and moving, trying to get those done in as few sets as possible. And then the last 30 calories or 25 calories, we're going to send it. So we do have a tough time target of 6 minutes, which I think is probably pretty tough. I think in the 6 minutes, around the 6 minutes, will be a really tough target. And then scaling to be sub 10, I think that's totally doable. If you just kind of look at it, it's 5 movements. Okay, so that's a movement every 2 minutes. I think that's more than doable to do 15 calories on the bike, 15 thrusters, basically 15 reps a minute to get that done in 10 minutes. So, if you feel like you're going to need that time, maybe you're gonna make sure that the bike is paced out there. Pace it to the 15 reps a minute, whether that's done in 5s or it's done in 8-7, whatever has to be done. Just break it up to try to get in each one of those movements done in 2 minutes, and you'll be fine. You'll keep your intensity high without redlining and having to, put your hands on your knees in the middle of it. All right, on Wednesday, we have for time 50, 40, 30, 20, 10 on the double unders. After those double unders, we're going to do a 50-foot double dumbbell front rack lunge. So we're going to be holding those dumbbells on the front. And then we have push-ups on the dumbbells. So your chest will still hit the ground, but your hands will be on the dumbbells, which allows us to go in a little bit of a deficit. Really not too crazy here. If we have dubs, we're just going to move pretty consistent, trying to do those in 1 to 2 sets. On the lunges, just take that full step. Make sure we're not trying to overstep. You can even just bring your feet together, stay under control, walk down 25 feet, turning around, coming back. And then the push-ups, just breaking those up into manageable sets, especially early on. If you try to push too big of sets early, it can kind of affect those later sets. But really just a good mover today. Kind of touching on some of those movements that we could see potentially in the open. Not really the push-ups necessarily, but the lunges for sure and double unders for sure could be something that comes in. So we're just trying to get some movement in, especially after the last couple days. Having yesterday be a little bit tougher. Today's really just going to be a good breather and your ability just to kind of move through it and hit large sets of push-ups. On the accessory work, we have 3 to 4 rounds for quality. We have dumbbell flies. So again, we're sitting back and keep the elbows bent, bringing it all the way up, focusing on just using the chest. If you have any issues in the shoulder, you feel this anywhere, then we just kind of skip those, or we can do some sort of like overhead tricep presses and just kind of focus on the triceps opposed to the pecs there. And then banded pull aparts and hollow rocks to finish off the day. On Thursday we have 1 minute on the clock, so it's going to be 4 chest to bars, 6 handstand push-ups, and then as many bike calories in the remaining time. We've kind of been building on this, trying to get these work on handstand push-ups last week with the carry, and then now we're trying to focus on more of doing some more upper body gymnastic pulling paired with that gymnastic press. So that's really the main skill today. RX Plus, we can go bar muscle ups and strict handstand push-ups. You can kind of mix and match those however you guys want to. For the fitness, we're just going to do dumbbell push press with jumping chest to bars. Again, pushing on the bike is going to be the main thing here. Getting anywhere from 30 to 40 seconds, I think, is going to be realistic. You have that 1 minute of rest with 10 rounds. So when we look at this, it's decent amount of volume, gymnastics and bike-wise, is that, when you get to the bike, it's not 100%. It's probably 80-85% of perceived effort. Push a hard pace, but something that you're going to be able to turn around and do the next time. After that, we have face pulls on the ring. So we're just going to be doing like a ring row, where we're just pulling up, pulling the shoulders back, keeping the shoulders back, just trying to hit the upper body, hitting the upper traps. And after that, we've got the pike up. So that's just sitting up, feet in front, bringing the toes up, and a nice straight line and back down. It's kind of like a progression to an L-sit. And then you have hip extension on the GHD. Or you can do banded hip good mornings, where you're actually standing in the band, where your hip's banded. And then you can use a kettlebell or even just a PVC pipe or whatever you want to do just to kind of get that hip hinge and working on just opening the hip up at the top. And really that's just for blood flow and just kind of get ready for the next day and just priming the hip for what we're going to be doing on Friday. On Friday, we do have the deadlifts. Those clusters again, last set of clusters, we're at, we have basically 2 singles at 80%, so we're just going heavier than last time. These still should be very high quality reps. After that, 15-minute EMOM. The first minute is 5 D-ball over the shoulder. Second minute is going to be 5 box jumps with a step down, and then you've got 20-second ski sprint. So, we're going to be hinging here. We're going to be working on our plyometrics jumping, and then a hard sprint on the ski, okay? And then just being able to turn and repeat that for 15 minutes. Basically just kind of accessory work to what we just did of the deadlift, and just kind of finishing off the week with that. After that, on Saturday, we have teams of 2, 20 wall walks, 40 strict pull-ups. We obviously can scale that to a jumping chest to bar, ring row. I would even be okay with a banded chest to bar for something like today. And then 60 double dumbbell box step-ups. So, holding those dumbbells to the side, stepping up. And then we've got 80 dumbbell shoulder to overhead, and then 100 calories on the rower. Just breaking that up however you want with another teammate. If you're kind of newer or you want to bring somebody else in, even doing this in teams of 3 is still a good amount of volume if you're feeling a little beat up today. Just kind of cut the volume down by just adding a team member. All right, guys, that's all we have. This is the last week before we go to the Open, where we're going to be doing Friday Night Lights. As we spoke about before, we'll be running the CrossFit Open during the day, and then at night we'll open up. I think we're going to start probably like 3:30, and we'll just run heats all the way through, and everybody will be there to cheer everybody on and have a good time. Okay, guys, if you have any questions, you always can reach out to me at brandon@makocrossfit.com or on Instagram or wherever. And if not, then I'll just see you in the gym. All right, let's get it.